M3GAN.
M3GAN! 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 M3GAN!
What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking M3GAN, or M3GAN, the brand new horror slasher involving a doll. But this time, it's not Chucky. Let's talk about it. M3GAN is a marvel of artificial intelligence, a lifelike doll programmed to be a child's greatest companion and a parent's greatest ally. Designed by a brilliant toy company and its lead roboticist, Gemma, M3GAN can listen and watch and learn as she becomes a friend and a teacher, playmate, and protector. But when Gemma suddenly becomes the caretaker of her orphaned 8-year-old niece, she's unsure and unprepared to be a parent. Under intense pressure at work, she decides to pair her M3GAN prototype with Cady in an attempt to solve both problems. Does it do it? Well, M3GAN is rated PG-13 for violent content and terror, some strong language, and suggestive references. I thought this movie should have been rated R. I looked into it, and you know what? It was originally intended on being rated R, according to reports, but they cut down on a few moments, and I said in my original reaction tweet, well, this movie, it works when it's at its bloodiest and most violent, and that is the final act-ish of the film when some chaos begins to happen. Of course, they're going to edit their way around some of those really bloody moments, but you still get just enough to creep you out and scare you, and that's where I want to talk about M3GAN. She's creepy, man. She's really cute and sweet, and she talks, and she's all nice, and then she'll just sit and look at you, and there's the way it sleeps, and it sits there. I'm just like, now why would I ever buy that for my child? I have a child on the way. Allison Williams plays Gemma, a character who has her fair share of flaws, but she is tasked with taking care of this young girl whose parents are involved in a tragic accident at the beginning. I did think that beginning scene was just a bit on the cheesy side, but the whole movie's just a bit on the cheesy side. I will say this about Gemma. As good as Allison Williams is, she does things all throughout the film that just irks me, right? At one point, she's manipulating Cady. She's like, oh, I know you're really sad and you feel bad, but if you could do this demonstration for me, that would be jolly. And I'm like, you're manipulating this 8-year-old girl, man. And I understand. It's one of those stories where characters, they're going to learn from their mistakes and they're going to have that realization. That element's really predictable. You can see it coming from a mile away. But the things she will do throughout the film, even down to, making this poor girl put her drink on a coaster after she lost her parents, I'm like, stop it. Stop it. So you get this setup. There's obviously going to be an artificial intelligence aspect at play in this company. They're trying to shove Hasbro out of the way and say, hey, we're the new guys in town, and we've been working on these little projects here and there, and that's what she's doing all throughout the beginning of the movie. But then she starts to realize, if I can perfect this, a child would never need another toy. But there's a lesson in there. Would a child become too attached to something like this, especially if they just went through tragedy like Cady did? And I love how this was conveyed to us at one point in the movie. This could be like their new caretaker to them, and they could put their faith in this artificial intelligence when really, that may not be good for them in that circumstance. And that's only one circumstance. But in general, I enjoy that this had a bit more to it when it comes to the themes and what children need growing up, as opposed to what this toy would bring to the table. But M3GAN is more than a toy. M3GAN, well, as all good artificial intelligence do, she begins to learn things, and it starts to go down a path that may not be pleasant for the people involved. That's pretty obvious. That's in the trailer. These are things that are essential to a story like this. It kind of reminds me of the Chucky remake we got a couple of years ago. Just a little bit different in the sense of they go about it, and there is a bit more at play when it comes to the story itself. But that story does take a while to get going. Not just the opening, but the build up to the reveal of M3GAN. I understand you have to have that in a movie like this, but I was getting antsy. I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand who these characters are. Let's just introduce the doll. Let's not focus as much on moments to make you emotional, because they aren't quite nailing that emotion for me. It becomes much more interesting when M3GAN is introduced, and then the emotion comes. And of course, there are inevitable beats at the end. I thought some of those were overly ridiculous. The good thing about this film is it embraces the cheese. It embraces the ridiculousness. I saw the trailer, I saw the doll dancing, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like this movie, to be honest with you. But those were actually the moments where I saw what was happening and I said, it's embracing the ridiculousness and it's almost playing on the idea of an artificial intelligence turning on humanity. So that was really cool. And then just the eeriness and the creepiness, the combination of performances from Amy Donald and Jenna Davis to provide us with this creepy character in M3GAN. And then I also mentioned Cady. Violet McGraw is really, really good as this young girl. She shows great emotion. There's moments where you have to feel like she's so attached to this doll and she can't let go, and the way she conveys that. She was obviously great in something like The Haunting of Hill House, but man, oh man, she's going to be a breakout star. I mean, she was absolutely phenomenal in this role. Some of the other side performances and just the eye-rolling moments when it comes to the CEO of the company, things he's doing, his, awkward assistant who's sitting and writing things in the background. There's a story going on there, and the movie doesn't really focus on it. It's not very important, but for some reason they do spend time on it. And I'm like, this could have been 15 minutes shorter, maybe. So all in all, M3GAN works, but I may have been a little underwhelmed compared to the first reactions to this movie. That's just me. But if you're a fan of the slasher genre, it may not be as bloody as other slashers, but those bloody moments do work, and it's absolutely the best part of the film. So before I give you my score, today's phrase is not a phrase, but a question. Who would win, M3GAN or Chucky? Whichever version of Chucky you want to use, to be honest. And if you enjoyed this review and you want to drop a thumbs up, that would be awesome. First off, the marketing for M3GAN has been brilliant. The movie itself gets off to a rough start, but once M3GAN enters the picture, viewers will be locked in. It mostly embraces the cheese and manages to provide some fantastic bloody moments that fans of the genre will love. I personally am going 63% with my score, but that is a positive score. It's an entertaining time, but it is one that you may start to nitpick and find some flaws with. But that's, I guess, the beauty of the genre, as long as you're having fun. And I had fun. M3GAN.